There we go. The live clock just popped up.
All right. Welcome in, everyone. Got Chris, Justice for Truckers here speaking. We got Roadhammer as a special guest tonight. And we got Moonshine Express, Mike from We the Truckers, who is actually one of my co hosts. Ignacio will not be in tonight. He has other engagements with the family, so he can't make it tonight. Uh, so, Mike, you want to introduce yourself since you missed the intro that we did?
Sure. I am one of half of the people that created WeTheTruckers.com. My wife is the other half, 3J Trucking, and we created the website WeTheTruckers.com where you can follow advocates. Has a lot of other useful information on there for like truckers' tools. Stuff that truck drivers will use, and books and movies and a bunch of other stuff. And the best way I can say is just go check it out. Drop us an email down there at the bottom. Let us know what you think.
Want to give a little bit of background in the trucking?
34 years experience as a over-the-road truck driver. Owned several trucks over the years. I've done mobile homes. I've done heavy haul, dry van, reefer, flatbed, step deck. Ran all 48 states. And currently running team for the last, 2 years now. We've been running team, had a dedicated route, and now we're doing specialized team freight.
Okay. I don't know what happened to Roadhammer. He dropped out.
Yeah, he was.
I haven't made it to.
And then he went to one. Done.
Yeah, right. Now I haven't made it to my destination yet. Almost there. I didn't quite make it on time before we had to start, but I'll be there shortly.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we don't load till Tuesday, so we're setting.
All right. Well, pretty sure we're recording as well. Make sure recording. Oh shoot. I'm not too sure if we're recording or not. It should be recording no matter what, but with the live. But anyways, so tonight we are actually talking about a little bit about the 60 Minutes investigation that came out this past week on Super Ego. I want to dive into it a little bit more. I did, post up a couple of videos and messages, going a little bit deeper into it. I've already posted up some of those, 2 of those videos. I actually I've got 4 more different messages that have to get created and put out. But anyways, I think Roadhammer's trying to come back in. Sorry.
There we go.
And there's Roadhammer. Let's let Roadhammer introduce himself before we get into it.
His camera a little bit. We can see one eyeball and a light.
It sounded like it was rubber banding a little bit too. You there, Roadhammer? Are you having problems connecting?
Yeah, it shows that it's thinking.
Yeah, he's trying to come in again.
For some reason, my phone keeps trying to put 2 instances in after I had to reboot my phone. Wait, there it is.
Huh. Did you get it?
I think. Check 1, 2.
Yep. We can hear
There
you.
we go.
You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, okay. So, I'm third generation driver. Started kicking trucks around the farm when I was 10, 11 years old. Graduated high school in 91, took 2 years off doing other things. Started driving, quote, professionally in February 5th of 93. Got 33 years under my belt at this point. I also dabble with technology. Ran a old school Wildcat BBS called That Damn BBS from the early 80s up until the mid 90s when they stopped using Wildcat, went to more other things like AOL and things like that.
Okay. All right. So, like I mentioned, we're covering the whole investigation on the 60 minutes that they did on Super Ego. One thing I wanted to point out, and the main thing that I wanted to point out, and it's actually in the video video that I posted up, is that Derek Bars is trying to make it look like that they had a lack of staffing per se, and that the vetting system that they use for the authorities is outdated, and the system that they've been using is almost 40 years old, which puts it back around the deregulation time. So to me, it's just an excuse that they came up with so they don't have to take accountability for what they've created whatsoever. Because it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter how many employees are in the FMCSA. They still have the Department of Transportation side that is supposed to enforce. Not only that, it doesn't rely on a system to enforce the regulations and the laws.
Wasn't part of the aspect of the report where they were having somebody in Serbia, Ukraine, or whatever, resetting hours of service?
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I don't work for nobody from Chicago.
All right. That's another point that I wanted to bring up, is that all these systems that they're using to regulate us, like the ELDs, the CSA scoring, all of that software that regulates us, that keeps track of us, is handled by third-party businesses.
Yeah.
Now,
It all
shouldn't
is.
Shouldn't government be the one in control of that?
You would think they're the one mandating it, but no, we got to pay third parties to use a software that the government mandates, rather than the government actually utilizing and hosting their own service.
Yeah, which they actually have access to. They have their own IT department. They can create the systems themselves.
Yep.
Well, that was the whole thing with the ELD. It was supposed to have been built and everything by government. It wasn't supposed to be farmed out to a third party.
Exactly. So was the CSA. So was the data queue for the drivers. All of it. Everything that regulates us is supposed to be created by government, because they are the ones that regulate us. They are the ones that create the regulations and the laws. What's your
Well,
guys'
they do
thoughts
need
on
to
it?
update. I mean, they do need to update their system that does a little bit better, that does a hell of a lot better job than what it does now, because there's so much that system doesn't do that it needs to do because it's so outdated.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but it's still the lack of the enforcement on the regulations and the laws as well. It doesn't just rely on a computer system, a betting system.
No, but whenever has a government agency or a politician ever taken responsibility for fucking up? Never.
Exactly what I'm pointing out. But
You know, they always come up with some excuse on why and or who did
I
it.
can't hear moonshine.
Do
I
what now?
can. Roadhammer said that he can't hear you.
I could hear him when he said something.
I can see his
Yeah, I'm
lips
not
move, but I
sure.
don't hear him. I can see his lips moving, but I don't hear him.
Yeah, it's on your end, Roadhammer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and 10 by 10, but I've got nothing on him.
Huh.
I can see his lips move, but that's about it. Let me log back out, try again.
Up there, and then it went blank.
All right.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, he was going to drop out and come back in.
All right.
Try to reset, basically. So what else you got on the topic, Mike?
Well, you know, the thing with Super Ego, the guy that started all that, he's just using a system that everybody else is using. I mean, look at Prime. They've already been taken to court and been sued and stuff over their illegal contracts that they had, and they're not the only company doing all this. I mean, it's the guy just didn't wake up one morning and decide, oh, I'm going to come up with a way and a contract, and I'm going to go to the United States and open up a trucking company, and I'm going to fuck drivers out of their money. That he just didn't wake up and do that. That other companies been doing this shit for years, and you know, he had enough money to exploit the situation 10 times over, all at one time.
Right.
You know, he didn't start out with 5 trucks. He probably started out with a few hundred trucks all right off the bat, because he did his investigation into what other companies were doing, and so it's something that's been going on for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole lease purchase program has been going on since deregulation, even before deregulation.
You know, I worked for Prime years ago for about 6 or 8 months, and they nickel and dime you to death. They take out so much for this, and so you got to pay so much for the truck, and so much for insurance, and so much for bobtail, and so much for a tire fund, so much for a maintenance fund, and oh, if you get an APU on your truck, you had to pay extra for that, and if you had this, it was extra, and that was extra, and you had to pay for them to do your paperwork, and it was just ridiculous. They nickel and dime you to death over everything, and it's that to me, that's not right.
Yeah, it's not. And I mean, it's been going on for I don't even know how long, to be honest. I haven't gotten that deep into it, but I know back when I went to the Midwest uh, Safety Summit, the lease purchase, the lease task force was actually there. They created that, government created that task force back in 2023 or 2024. And it was because of advocates, drivers, talking about the predatory lease programs and the lease on. Even leasing on your truck, they're predatory. So they created this task force, and they were actually at the Midwest Safety Summit and did a seminar. Now I had the recording. It's still up on my profile. But Steve Rush is, if I remember right, Steve Rush is the chairholder of that committee. And they went through, a bunch of different lease purchase programs. They could not find one contract from the lease purchase or even lease on that wasn't predatory in some way.
Yeah, but what have they done about it since then? Apparently, they ain't done much of nothing.
A bunch of talking about how to fix it is what they actually said in the seminar. So, and I even asked a couple of questions too. And that's in the video, but I can't remember exactly what I asked. But anyways,
Well, they need to.
but yeah,
they need to start enforcing instead of talking. They need to get out there and get some shit done.
Amen.
welcome in, old school Kate.
Yeah, I think I got everybody now.
Move your camera
Okay.
a little bit. All I can see is one eyeball.
That's actually
So old school Kate put a comment in. There was a bill introduced by a representative from California, but it's stuck in the subcommittee. Subcommittee. Why is this stupid money sign in my way? Something highway and transit. Oh. Okay. Do you know what that bill is called, old school?
They buried it because it has to do with trucking, so it's not that important. They put it at the bottom of the pile.
Right. And she might be talking about that PRO Act, which the PRO Act is basically the federal version of AB one, the AB 5 in California. But it would actually make it a federal standard.
Yeah,
Does
well,
anybody know what the
there's
AB5 is?
that's the one out there in California to do with owner operators and lease purchase, and the way they went about it, I don't agree with it.
HR 5423 is the bill. Okay.
And the and companies have already figured out how to get around California's BS.
Yeah, I don't totally agree with it. I think they had the right intentions on doing it, but they didn't structure it right.
Well, I mean, it's like everything else in California. They start out one way and then they end up with another way. It's like DEF. They're the ones that pushed for all the crap, and now they want to get rid of it because it's harmful to some vegetation.
Okay, so I'm going to look up this bill number, see what it actually
You know, and
says.
it's like cars. When a manufacturer builds a new model car, changes something in an engine, you know, that all that everything has to go to California and has to pass their smog regulations. Well, that's just asinine and ridiculous that every manufacturer has to make their stuff meet California. You know, it's out of control, and it's completely ridiculous that a major manufacturer is going to bow down to the state of California. You know, they need to stand up and be like, this is the way we're building cars. If you don't like it, we won't send you any. Simple.
I'm still trying to figure out who died and left California in charge.
Because I hauled cars for 12 years, and I've been up to American Falls and some other places up north where these manufacturers test cars, smog test them, winter test them, do all kinds of testing, and everything revolves around California. Well, that's a bunch of BS, and now now they're letting California regulate on how owner operators and lease operators can operate. And no, I mean, look at the idiot that's running the state. The state of California is bankrupt.
It's my understanding that part of that stuff going on with California started because of Uber and Lyft and all that, and somehow we got
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's
somehow
exactly right.
talented truck
It was
drivers
mostly
get
for
roped
Uber and
into
Lyft
that circle.
because it went after the 1099 subcontract.
They went after the money.
They went after the whole 1099 subcontractor.
I remember I was out in California. It's been quite a few years ago, sitting out there at the TA in Ontario, inside the restaurant, sitting there, and there was a bunch of us talking and carrying on, you know, having a good time like we used to. One person, some local yokel nut out there, piped up and said, we don't really need truck drivers out here. The state of California can take care of itself. I'm like, really? How many cars do y'all build in California now? Because Toyota moved. They built one plant in Texas, and they built another plant in Tupelo, Mississippi. So the only manufacturing company in the state of California builds Teslas. So, everybody's going to drive a Tesla. Next thing you know, you won't have electricity because you're going to blow up the infrastructure when everybody plugs in their cars at one time. And I asked him, I said, what other manufacturing facilities do you have in this state to where the entire state can survive on food, housing, clothing, vehicles, everything? What else do you have? Oh, Well, we got this. Okay, so you manufacture toilet paper. You can wipe your butt. Big deal. What else you got? Oh, well, we got the vegetables. Okay, but what else do you got? State of California cannot live all on its own without the rest of the country. And there's a lot of people out there that are under the disbelief that they can survive all on their own.
California, I believe, is one of the states that requires all their lumber to be imported, if you will, because they don't do any clear cutting of their own. So therefore, there's no lumber mills, or probably there is, but just none that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and they're running Tesla out of the state. I mean, if you've ever been to Austin on the 130 toll road out there, you can see that massive Tesla facility that they're building down there, and they're still building on that sucker today. And it's open for production, but they're making that place bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think eventually Tesla's going to close their doors in California, is what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I concur with that idea.
I think he already has, because he built the plant in Sparks.
Oh, that's for the batteries. I think that's
no. They build the Teslas there. They build the Teslas there too.
Oh, I heard that.
I've actually been at
plant that they built over there.
It is, but they also manufacture they have another warehousing out there that manufactures the Teslas. They got about 3 or 4 different. Yeah, I think they have. There's 3 or 4 different properties that Elon owns out in Sparks.
I got a buddy of mine that works
before you
for
start
Tesla.
talking about the data centers. That's before you start talking about data centers. That's a whole other animal.
There's been a lot of industry, a lot of companies been moving out of California because it's ridiculous the way they're going out there. But and why did stuff get the way it is? Because people were roped into voting yes for a lot of this stuff when
That and the lack of enforcement on the laws and regulations.
Yep.
But I do have some information pulled up on that bill. Just give me a minute. I'm in the store right now, so.
Okay. Probably about an hour.
Yeah, so I do have some stuff. Let me get back to the truck so I can, because I got my cup in my hand, my phone in the other, and all the information's on my other phone.
Right. If it's this agency that's supposed to go after these lease purchases and shit, if they'd have been doing their job, this super ego thing would have never got as far as it got.
Hey, on a side note, while you mentioned something like that, you see what Big Rig Nation's doing?
What, who?
Big Rig Nation. He's going after Hurricane and a couple other ones.
Oh yeah, he's been taken to court twice now. He's been taken to court twice now by Hurricane Express, trying to get him. They're trying to get Big Rig Nation. They're trying to put a gag order on him so he can't talk about Hurricane Express and their thievery. And the other thing is, what's his name, babe? Gracie. Charles Gracie had the owner of Big Rig Nation on live the other day asking him questions, and we watched it, and what a joke.
Yeah, it was on Freewaves, right?
Yes, yes. Me and the wife are friends with Sean Gracie. We know him personally.
Okay.
Or Charles Gracie, I mean, sorry, Charles. So, yeah, he sent it to us, and I listened to it, and I mean, who's going to go on a live? Like right now, I can hear everybody just fine off my phone or off our laptop. You know, he had in a set of earbuds the whole time, and you could tell by the way he was talking that somebody was feeding him the answers.
It wouldn't surprise me.
You know, and then he played a clip on there's this one guy that does a lot of their TikTok videos. I'm assuming I think it might be the guy's son, maybe, but I'm not sure. But he always wears khaki pants and a pair of loafers and like a polo shirt. Well, he did a video on how their drivers get paid according to this and according to that. The owner went on there and said, "Oh, we pay our drivers $2 a mile," and yada yada. You know, and then the math don't add up when you're doing 10 grand in a week and you're only bringing home $2,000. What freaking kind of calculator are they using?
That's the question.
Here's what I gotta say about Big Rig Nation. Okay, so I actually called him out once because he actually lets owner operators lease under his authority. So I asked him for a contract to see his contract, and he blocked me. He said he didn't have to show me his contract or anything. He said if I wanted to lease onto him, I could go to his office, look at the contract, and sign the contract if I wanted. But he wanted to send it to me. Not only that right there. You guys decide what you want to do with that information.
That's weird.
But he also blocked me, so there's that.
Yeah,
All I gotta say is you gotta be careful who you work with, who you listen to, and do some research.
Yeah, but everything he's doing about Hurricane Express, he's got the facts to back it up because drivers came in there.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with everything that he's pushes when he's doing his lives and talking about Hurricane and the predatoriness of it and all of that. But at the same time, I mean, you don't want to show me your contract for someone that's asking to lease under your authority, and you don't want to show the contract, but yet you're claiming all these other people are predatory and you're not.
Well, he don't have a truck.
To me,
he helps you get hooked up with companies that are legit and pay properly and do the right thing.
He's like a third-party provider.
And he only does
right
flatbed too. I think he doesn't do van and reefer and all that other stuff.
No, he does flatbed.
Yeah.
He's a skateboarder.
Maybe that's why he told me he wouldn't show me the contract. But at the same time, why would he block me? Because I asked for that.
I have no idea. We both know him. We've both talked to him and everything. We know Patrick also.
Yeah, I know who he is, and I've talked to him a few times before he blocked me. But yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to see. Okay, so here's what I got so far on the HR 5423. So amend Title 49 of the U.S. Code to prohibit predatory commercial motor vehicle lease purchase programs used by motor carriers. Why it exists? The bill responds to widespread. Roadhammer, can you mute your mic or something? You got feedback coming through or something. Someone does.
There, it's muted.
Okay. There we go. That was throwing me off. So the bill responds to widespread abuses where carriers control both the lease and the work, creating a closed system. Promise ownership, but structure payments so drivers almost never reach it. Pay drivers pennies on the dollar while limiting loads. Trap drivers in escalating debt. Prevent drivers from seeking better paying work elsewhere. Create safety risk due to financial pressure and overwork. Key provisions. The bill would ban lease purchase schemes where the carrier or leaseor are effectively the same entity, meaning the leaseor cannot be the carrier, or the carrier can't be the leaseor.
Kind of like Prime and Hurricane Express.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how majority of the lease purchase programs are. Is the carrier is the leaseor.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, not always, but majority. Prohibit deceptive compensation promises. Prevent carriers from restricting drivers' ability to seek other work, meaning they'd be able to go to, DAT, truck stop, load boards, and be able to get their own freight, or even get their own direct freight. Because a lot of the carriers that lease on owner operators, they don't allow it. They have to use their load boards and haul their loads.
There are a few leasing companies out there that allow you lease the truck from them and you can take it wherever you want to. There are a few out there that do that, but there's not many.
Yeah, a few. Yeah. That's why I said majority are, they don't allow it.
Yeah.
Most don't allow it.
That goes back to what California was talking about with the 1099 drivers. If they're not able to control their work, then they're captive. You're captive. You're not 1099. You're an employee.
Yep. Exactly. The strengthened oversight using findings from the Truck Leasing Task Force, TLTF, created under the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Oh, so it was created back in 2021. So I was wrong on the timeline. Introduced September 17th. Go ahead.
And exactly what have they done in the last 5 years? Nothing.
Apparently nothing, because nothing's been done.
You got Super Ego that leases the trucks, owns the trucking company. You got Prime that leases the trucks and owns the trucking company. You got Hurricane Express. You got Heartland Express. You got Hirschbach. You got Swift. You got the list goes on and on and on of companies that are doing exactly what that organization, that task force is supposed to stop, and they ain't done nothing.
Yeah, they haven't.
The only thing they've done is get a paycheck every week.
I will say, as devil's advocate, they have written some pretty rules and some pretty laws, but nobody seems to be paying attention to them.
Yeah. There's no
because,
enforcement
again,
behind them.
nobody's enforcing them.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right there. There's no penalty behind the law.
Yeah.
Just slap
So
on the hand.
instead of going after more, well, we need to make a law for this. We need to make a law for that. No, we don't need any more laws. We don't need no more regulations. We need to get these people to enforce the stuff that's already on the freaking books. Because if you did that, a lot of these problems would fix themselves if you just started enforcing what's already there.
Exactly.
But there's some people you can't get. There's a lot of people you can't get them to understand that. They think we need another law to fix a law that's already on the book. No, you need enforcement.
And not just at the scale house.
No, and well, that's just like the English proficiency. Okay, what is the penalty if you get pulled into a scale house and you can't pass the test? What's the penalty?
It's out of service.
For how long?
That I forget. But I know it's out of service though.
I don't know exactly what the timeline is, but apparently it's only like 10 hours or something, because there was a guy that got stopped in 2 states in a day and a half for not being able to speak English.
Yep.
So what's going to happen? Big deal. You're going to get put out of service. You're going to sit there for 10, 12 hours, whatever, and then you're going to get up and start driving again. Oh,
Well, from my understanding, they are the driver is supposed to be taken out of the truck, and the company is supposed to recover the truck, which is not happening.
right, because they're not enforcing the stuff.
Welcome in, Robert.
What they want to do.
Yo,
Welcome in, Robert.
You know,
What's your? Go ahead, Mike. Finish.
you know, there's no consequences for half the stuff that you do that you're not supposed. There's no consequences.
Yep. What's your thoughts on this whole subject, Robert?
well, I heard some places deporting, those that don't speak English. And this is the first time I heard they just shut them down for 10, 12 hours. So they're supposed to learn English within 12 hours?
No, that's been the rule since 1946. That's not a service.
Right. 46? I thought it was 37.
You might be right. I think it was ratified in 46. I don't know. Anyway, between that time frame.
Right.
The point is, it's been on the books.
Right.
The English proficiency's been on the books since 1937, July of 1937.
But there's no consequence.
I agree to a point. If we go to their country and we don't take care of, our paperwork, we're going to get deported or thrown in prison, one of the two.
Well, it was a year or two ago. There was a girl An American girl went overseas to drive over on the Australian outback or something. She got arrested because she couldn't understand the differences, and then she was deported back here to the States.
Well, I don't have a problem with making them understand English and having to know the signs and being able to speak a little bit, because I spent 2 years in Germany when I was in the military. Okay, they sent you to a class for 2 weeks called Head Start, where they taught you the basic the word train, taxi, how their system worked as far as money, because we say $120, they say their $120 completely different. So they taught you the basics. Okay, you went down to a restaurant, and if you walked into that restaurant and sat down and spoke English to them, said, "I'll have a hamburger and French fries," you may or may not get a hamburger and French fries. And you may or may not pay $15 for that burger. You'd probably pay $20. But if you walked in there and sat down and attempted to speak their language back when I was in Germany, most of the German people spoke very, very good English. They knew what you were talking about. But as long as you made an attempt to speak their language, they were the nicest and friendliest people around. So this crap over here, where you walk into a place and think that my business employees should know how to speak Spanish, bullshit.
So, Robert, you got a lot of experience with the lease purchase program. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you. You know, you got all these owners that's opening these companies that is just screwing drivers left and right, and they can get away with it because they know the drivers, they got the money to take their butts to court. I worked for Super Eagle, and you know, twice. Once I didn't receive a check. The second time, they were like, you know, I told them, no, that you guys still owe me money. And I'm like, oh no, we changed the company's different, and you know, and like a dumbass, I went with them again and got screwed over twice. So this time, I said, all right, you want to play games? I drove the truck to Arizona, took it out into the desert, left it wide open, and left it in the desert, and told them to come get their shit. That was my paycheck, because I knew I wasn't going to get my money. But I worked for Hirschback as well, and it's just they wine and dine you at the beginning, and then they screw you, you know, when you're driving once you get out of that orientation. So, but I think it's, you know, it needs to be balanced for where a driver can get, you know, some type of right and have some type of say so, because once they tell you that you have a say so, but you really don't.
See, here's something I know about Hirschbach. My cousin, he worked for Hirschbach, got all the way through his lease except for the last 2 weeks. They canned him at the end of just before the end of his lease. He lost the truck arbitrarily over some stupid nonsense.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, I got a question, and this has been asked by other drivers as well, even advocates, and it's even been asked by government. Why do drivers, if they know that the companies are being predatory with the lease purchase and the lease on, why do they still sign on?
It's a gamble. Some win, some lose. It's like going to the casino.
You're right about that
What's
one.
your thoughts on? So, what's your perspective of it, Robert? Since you've done a couple of
I did more than a couple, but I think it's
them.
like suicide. No, I'm keeping it real, man. You know,
Yeah,
but it's like suicide, man. You know, just rolling that revolver and hoping for the best.
yeah, I can see
So
that. I mean, I can understand a driver wanting to succeed in life and pursue that opportunity, but to
It
just keep on doing it, that's where it
well over the
kind of
last
be. Yeah,
over the last 30 some years, I've completed 2 that I actually paid them off.
right.
right.
Probably out of, let me see, there's 1, 2 Prime. When I worked for them, that didn't last very long because I knew they were screwing me because I ran percentage. So I ran the numbers to see what it paid on mileage. It would have paid better running mileage, so I switched to mileage, and then all of a sudden my shit would have been running on better on percentage. So I'm like, yep, I gotta go.
Well, they flipped the model on you.
Yeah.
You know what?
So, that one didn't work. And then when I had my car hauler, I was down to like 2 payments left. So I could say I actually paid that one off because it was my choice. I could have spent just probably $18,000 to fix what needed to be fixed when they had the motor tore apart. But I had almost 1 million miles on it, so I chose to do a complete overhaul, change some other things that needed to be replaced. So I went back in debt for another $52,000. So, but I paid that truck off, and then I think I ended up selling it. Then I had my mobile home truck that I actually paid that one off free and clear and had it for about 2 years before I sold it. So it's a gamble, like he said. On some people do,
Right.
some people don't.
Well,
Right.
if,
And you never know
here's
until
a
you
thought.
actually get into it. So
A couple of weeks ago,
there's that.
I went to a company that kept on calling me to come to work for them. I get over there, get a drug test, sign the paperwork, sign the contract for the truck to do lease purchase. They told me to sit outside while they get everything ready. This guy comes to sit next to me on the couch, and he says, "We're not going to be able to hire you because we looked at your Facebook and you have a magazine." I said, "Yeah, what's that have to do with me driving for you guys?" Well, he got up, and 2 other guys got up, and 3 other guys came behind him, and they were going to kick me out. So, and I told him, if you ain't hiding nothing, what are you scared of? They said, well, we had a writer come in and write something about us, and then some people come and take a bunch of pictures. I said, what's that have to do with me? Well, we just don't want to go down that road.
Here.
Just get out. So,
Right.
was it a good thing? Probably so. But
Mike, I had to mute. Well, maybe it wasn't you.
No, that was Roadhammer making all that noise.
Well, I muted him too, but it was still going on. That's why I ended up muting you. But
Yeah, that's coming from him.
anyways, huh? because when I muted them, it was still going on.
Yeah, there's companies starting to do that. They're all worried about your social and why are some of these companies worried about what's on social media? Because they're doing some shady shit.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the only reason
And they're
why you
worried
need to be
about
worried
it getting out on them.
someone's doing.
Yep. They're worried. They were worried Robert was going to put something out on them. So there's
That
that.
just makes me. I'd have went when they'd have sent me home. I'd have done a deep dive into them, and something would have been put in the magazine. Shit, in about 10 minutes.
Oh, it's not over with. It's not over with. Chris is saving them.
Yeah, it's not over with.
Chris was saving them because I was going to put their name all over, but Chris told me not to. You know, but that's all right. So, what branch was you with, Mike?
Do what?
What branch was you with?
I was in the
Military.
Army.
Oh, you were? Were you at
Army.
Frankfurt?
Army.
Yeah. Where were you stationed?
No, I was stationed in Kitzingen.
Oh, okay. I was at Frankfurt.
I was in Kitzingen, Germany. I was in the 3rd ID.
I was with the 75th.
Okay. I went to Frankfurt a few times, but I used to go to Nuremberg a lot. Or not Nuremberg, Kitzingen, K-Town.
Okay, yeah. Did they have that long conversation with you about the skinheads out there?
No.
Yeah, they had a long
conversation
conversation
I used to go to K-Town with my job.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so I got some more information on the lease purchase and lease on predatory. So it dates all the way back to 1930s. It says the seed stage, 1930s to the 1940s. Early owner-operator leases appear as railroads decline and trucking expands. Carriers begin experimenting with company-controlled equipment leases to avoid buying trucks. 1950s to 1970s, lease-on agreements grow quietly. Carriers discover they can shift costs and risk onto drivers without giving them employee protections. No federal oversight exists. Abuse is already happening, but it's small scale and localized. 1980s deregulation, the Big Bang event. Motor Carrier Act of 1980 deregulates trucking. This is the moment the modern scam is born. Deregulation creates a race to the bottom on rates, massive pressure on carriers, incentives to push costs onto drivers, a loophole, independent contractor status with carrier-controlled equipment. Lease purchase becomes a business model, not an accident. 1980s, the first wave of predatory programs. Mega carriers begin offering no money down leases. Payments are structured so drivers never reach ownership. Carriers control the truck, the freight, the maintenance, the deductions, the settlement, the termination. Drivers report losing trucks after years of payments. This is the first time the scam becomes systemic. 1990s. That was back in the 80s when deregulation hit. After the Motor Carrier Act of 1980. Yeah. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because everybody wants to think that it's the foreigners doing this. It's been happening before the foreigners even came here.
Right?
I guess we got to go back and change our
They
article.
just took it to another level. That's what the foreigners did. They took what was already happening and took it to a different level.
They put the PhD masterpiece to it.
Yeah. Okay, so 1990s industry industrialization of the scam. Large fleet scale lease purchase nationwide. Recruiting ads promise be your own boss. Carriers discover they can fire company drivers, replace them with lease operators, eliminate payroll taxes, eliminate benefits, eliminate liability, profit off the truck, and the freight. Drivers begin reporting. Forced dispatch, manipulated miles, balloon payments, impossible maintenance deductions, truck returned in perfect condition, but still owed $20,000.
Okay.
This is when the scam becomes normalized. This is great information. Holy shit.
You know, you're talking about you still owe $20,000. When I quit Prime, they sent me a letter telling me that I owed them almost $9,000 for stuff that they had to do to the truck.
Yep.
I sent them a letter back and told them when they paid me the 25 grand that they owed me, they could take the $9,000 out of that. Until then, you can go
Right.
fuck yourself. And I never heard another word out of them about it.
Yeah, I had the similar incident with JB Hunt. I went to lease a truck from JB Hunt for a while, and I got so goddamn broke running with them. I couldn't afford fuel, so I took it to the closest depot, dropped it off at their depot, got a receipt that I dropped it off in good condition, and then they tried to charge me for a repossession and a relocation and a bunch of other stupid bullshit. I leave up that. It's like, yeah, fuck off. Excuse my French.
So I'm going to point something out. Off of what I just read right now, okay. So majority of these mega carriers, actually, their fleet size, more than half of their fleet is actually owner operators, lease purchase, or guys just leasing onto their authorities that bring their own trucks on.
And that's how you keep.
That's majority of their fleet. Yep. That's exactly why they could keep their overhead costs down so low. That's the biggest reason. Not only that, they get the bigger discounts because of the size of the fleet they have.
Exactly.
That and majority of them are self-insured. There's the self-insurance side of it too. They save thousands, if not, they save hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on insurance every single year.
We're paying their insurance
because they're self-insured. Yep.
That's crazy.
You guys got any thoughts on that before I go deeper into it? There's more.
Oh, I can only imagine what else is in there. I mean, it's, but they're, this thing that they're doing with Super Ego, that's, how long do you think that's going to be in the news before it gets pushed under the carpet and then they'll move? Because, I mean, look at this.
It's already starting.
Delilah's Law was blasted everywhere. And then after the truck show, how much have you heard about Delilah's Law?
Not a peep. It goes to the next news cycle. So give it to Monday.
Because they found something else to talk about. So now they're on the Super Ego and these leases. That's going to get brushed under the carpet. You know, and then they'll talk. It's a smoke screen to get your ass focused over here while they fuck you in another position.
Exactly. So come
That's
Monday, it'll be
exactly
something
why
else.
we have to keep talking about this. That's exactly why we have to keep talking about this. That way it doesn't get swept under the rug. We keep putting the articles in the magazine. We keep talking about it here on the lives every once in a while. So,
Well, I just heard a thing on social media that they were talking about Super Ego just changed their name.
Yeah, that's a it hasn't been confirmed yet, but JJ, what's his name, babe? JJ Consulting heard from a little birdie that they're changing their name. It has not been confirmed yet.
Yeah, so they're going to rebrand. No surprise. Everybody in Chicago does that.
So what are they going to change
I mean,
to?
just look at it. Look at how well this shit runs wild in the trucking industry. Okay, you had that trucking company that killed them people. What was that, Ontario, where that guy killed them people?
Ran in the back of them or something like that?
Yeah, they were based out of San Francisco, Sacramento, somewhere up there. I forget where they were out of. They have videos of people going by where they're changing the name, the DOT numbers on the truck, and they're still running down the road.
Yeah.
There's a couple videos of some guys in truck stops doing that in rush areas.
Yeah.
So one other thing that I wanted to point out about Super Ego is if you look up their actual DOT number, it comes up inactive. So why isn't the way stations pulling them in and shutting them down? Because just in the last 2 days, I probably went by at least 10 Super Eagles.
I'm
Just in
seeing
the last 2 days.
I'm seeing Super Ego trailers being pulled by trucks with different DOT and names on the door. That's why.
No, I've seen some Super Ego trucks too, up on the 40 in New Mexico.
You know, another thing that they're not doing either, that DOT number on the side of the truck. Like, I was pulling trailer houses and I was south side of Austin, and I got sideswiped by a guy. And there was 3 other houses in front of me. They got video of his truck, his company name, his truck number, the trailer that he was pulling, everything. We called the company and they're like, "Oh, well, thank you for letting us know where the trailer's at. It's been missing for about 3 months."
Yeah, there's no way of denying.
Didn't even match the name on the door. So are these DOT cops and scale houses really doing their job and checking DOT numbers? No, they're not.
Fun fact about the DOT scale houses: a lot of them become automated, so it depends on what the machine tells the guy at the desk.
You know, it's crazy. I mean, there's so much.
Can't see that. Oops.
There's so many
pop-up?
things out there to where they can scan and check this stuff out without doing anything. It's simple, but they don't do it.
Chris, what was that pop-up?
It was the screenshot that I
Here, look this up.
that I took when I ran their DOT number.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't coming up. It wasn't coming up right.
Huh.
I'm going to try it a different way.
What's his name gave us?
So I've got Nope. I gotta change the format.
There you go.
Hold on.
Here.
Layout.
Go to that right there. What's your MC number? Okay. And then type in that code. I think that's how it works. Remember what he told us?
Yeah.
Type and run Super Ego's number. You know what Super Ego's number is? A DOT number is?
Oh, I get it.
Nope, that ain't coming out right. I do know it, but I have to go out and get it. And I think it's going to take me out, like, completely. To where you guys can't hear me.
I think that's the code for us to get into it. Or it's freight.
You can
validate.
actually
I
go to
forget which one.
FMCSA. You can actually go to FMCSA and actually type in Super Ego.
Well,
But you
I
have
got
to
a
have the
special
state,
place
too.
to go to check numbers. Me and the wife got free access to an account to check numbers.
Yeah, it's called Safer or the FMCSA website. But same thing.
Yeah, I can't look. I can't look it up because I'm on the phone, but she could probably look it up here in a minute.
Yeah, I can blow you guys up too. If you want to show the screen on the other phone.
I can't remember which website he told us to go to. It's one of the two that I got, and I got the access code. So we just got to look it up. But I'll have to Google what their DOT number is. Your computer still hooked up, babe? Turn it around for me.
328.
Let me see if I can find their number.
Huh.
What happened?
My phone is lagging.
I can't.
How do I get it to go onto you guys?
It's either that or it's under freight validate. I can't remember which one it was. It was one.
No. I think that's about the best I can do.
Oh, it's going to take me a minute to get in here, so. Password's incorrect.
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out the layout to where you guys could show it too.
What'd you change your password to on here?
Well, yeah. So once you get that pulled up, we're going to have to wrap it up. We already been on for a little over an hour.
Yeah, we got an incoming call. We'll figure it out. And then let you guys know. We got an incoming call coming too, so.
Capital O. Right?
Yeah, see if you can get it pulled up real quick.
Owen or Owen?
And then we'll close it out.
Try 264-3762.
What is it again?
264-3762. It's inactive.
264-3762.
264-3762.
Yep, that's what I got.
Inactive.
Okay. What was that one? WHATS. Enter. What the fuck is this? I don't know. I don't think it's hooked up anymore. I don't think we're hooked up. I'll look it up and see what it comes up on it. No, yeah, no internet access connection available. We're not hooked up. Oh, the computer went to sleep, so it kicked us off.
Right.
You know how that works.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. So,
yeah, 2017 they had an involuntary inactivation.
2017.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming up with.
So since 2017, they've been running without an authority.
Yeah, Killstroke, here's what I've got. Status is active, carrier operation. History, contract carrier authority with the MC number 921732 was granted July 1st of 2015, involuntarily revoked July 17, 2017. No common broker, property authority, translation, they lost legal right to operate.
Damn
So if you
it.
see a truck running Super Ego, it's illegal. The trailers aren't, though. You can run the trailers all day long.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll figure this
But
out.
I've even seen their trucks on the road. I don't know what numbers they had on them, but it said Super Eagle. At least 2 Super Eagle.
Yeah, and they're out of, they got, from what I'm getting is they are a Chicago carrier.
Wait a minute,
No
you
surprise.
got into it.
Right.
Type in
Yeah, I knew they were out of the Chicago area.
Yeah, it goes back to that suburban, the Serbia, Ukrainian bullshit.
Right.
Well, one
So
of these gave us a
that shows you the lack of enforcement from FMTSA and USDOT. I mean, they haven't had an active authority since 2017, almost 10 years.
Yeah, here, let me copy this and put this in your chat. Hold on a minute.
I know which one this is for.
You did it in the private chat.
Freight Validate is the one we got, babe. That's the one I'm looking at the number.
Coyote Online, USDOT 264-3762, Deep Recon, Super Ego Inc. Edition. So they were linked to the Coyote?
No, Coyote's my AI.
The what?
Coyote is my AI.
Oh.
That's part of my tech stack.
That is crazy. But here, let me see if I can copy this and get it in the actual comments.
I'll have to figure out how we get into it.
Let's see.
Go on. Go on. Oh, yeah. Do we? Huh?
I'll
For you.
figure out how we get into it. It won't let, I don't know how you do it. We haven't used it, so I don't know.
Oh, you did get it in.
Do what?
No, I think it was that other thing.
No, I typed in that. But look at the code. Okay? And then look at that name.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was.
One of them he said he gave us the free code, and the other one he had to pay for, and I don't remember which one it was.
Well, you didn't put the right name in.
What's that?
You put FT, not FT. That specific.
But anyone viewing, it's down in the comments. What Roadhammer had got. I didn't realize he got it into the comment section too. Because at first it was just in the private chat.
I'm good like that. I'm gonna make sure everybody got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize you got it into the comment chat too.
To get in there,
I only seen it in the private when I tried to do it. But that just showed you the lack of enforcement from the people that's supposed to be regulating us. I mean, they've been running for almost 10 years. So
the only way to find out for sure is if you know someone who's got was it Frank Validate, Rob Carpenter.
well, even on the 60 Minutes. So even on the 60 Minutes, they brought up their CSA score having multiple wrecks, multiple violations. Like their safety score was, I can't even remember what they said, but it was high. It was like in the 70s, 80s.
Okay, so Chris, when I went just
And the
tried to see
CSA,
it wouldn't show it to me.
the
It just told me it
CSA
was
score,
inactive.
yeah. So the CSA scores, they drop off after 3 years. The violations, they drop off after 3 years.
Yeah, every 36 months they clear the slate. Whatever violation clears off 36 months.
Yeah, so we know for a fact they've been running for the last 3 years.
Oh, that's right.
But yet, DOT and FMCSA didn't do jack shit about
we might
it.
have to call him and see how you which one that was for and how you get in it.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. Be safe out there, guys. And remember, we're on every Saturday at 4 o'clock Pacific, 5 Mountain, 6 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock Eastern every single Saturday. Come join us, collaborate with us, make comments, ask your questions. We'll see you next Saturday. Have a good night.
It's been fun.
And everybody that's on the panel, just stay on. That way the recording uploads and everything, and you guys have access to it.
Cool.
All right.